Long as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag. Long as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag.
What's up, what's up, what's up, you crazy sports fanatics? How are you doing this evening? We are back with another episode of Sports Bites. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Tonight, I am your host, Randall Horn. Once again, my brother over here on the other mic, Don Schro.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Good to
How
be
you doing
back.
tonight, Don?
Doing well, doing well.
Good, good. So we're a couple days behind. Some crazy weather. I know we've had some illnesses around and, trying to catch up.
Illness around the family.
Yep, absolutely. We're around the Sports Bites family too, man. It's just hitting everybody. But
a few of our guys.
Gonna try to catch everything back up. It's been a rough week so far for numerous reasons.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start off by doing our normal thing. Thank you everybody for being here. We're excited to have you. We are Sports Bites, your number one podcast, bringing you the best of both worlds, sports and snacks, two of the greatest things in life.
Yes, sir.
Possibly the greatest two things in life, sports and snacks. I mean, I know you can argue sex, but I mean, sports and snacks, it's a close one.
It's a whole different way.
Who are we kidding? We're bringing the second and third best thing in life. We're going to start this thing off. I hate to keep making the announcement, but we got to get them out there. Subscription. Subscribe. We got to get these subs out there, people. We want to make these giveaways happen, but we got to hit the numbers to make these giveaways happen. We've got lots of plans, tons of stuff we're ready to give out to the fans. We want to build this fan base, but before we can do that, we have got to get the subs on this podcast. We've got to get it. We're still looking to get that 50 subscriber number.
Almost halfway there.
We are, and we're getting there, and I'm still cool with it. I think we've made a lot of progress, but I really want to get this first giveaway. I'm excited. I like giving stuff away, man.
And I think a lot of the viewers view it and like what we talk about and everything, but they don't think about subscribing and making their own account, and that's the only thing that you have to do. Make your own account. If you view it, then you can subscribe. You can see us anytime we put up a video. It comes up on your feed, so
it's easy.
Do that.
People.
That'll help us out a whole lot.
We can get those subscribes. We can get these giveaways. Hell, if you need help, send it in the comments. We'll figure it out. We'll help you out. We're here for everyone, man. So, like I said, we're still trying to hit that 50 sub. As soon as we do, we've got a great giveaway planned for that one. For some people, hopefully they like both sports and snacks. I would imagine they do if they're here right now watching the podcast. So,
yes, sir.
Let's get this thing rocking and rolling, Don. We've got some stuff going on tonight, good, bad, all over the place. Got to start it off our normal thing. So tonight we've got something a little different. I'm not sure about this one. I mean,
spicy.
Last week was a rough one. Not gonna lie, that was a rough one. That messed me up for like the first 15 minutes of the podcast. Brent only took a bite, but he champed it out a lot better than I did. I ate that wing and was like immediate regret.
Yep.
Like
do it. I'm not the spicy guy.
Yeah,
I would have died just as bad. So.
I felt like Ron Burgundy when he jumped into the pit with the Bears. It's like I immediately regret this decision. Like that was terrible. But
yeah, that was hilarious.
Tonight our review. So I've never had these before. Rachel told me that they're really good. I've never had them. Never heard of them before. Tonight we've got Daleman's Stroopwafels. Stroopwafel minis. These are caramel Stroopwafels. The authentic Dutch Stroopwafels.
Yeah, I would say Dutch Stroop.
Soft toasted waffles filled with caramel, cinnamon, and real bourbon vanilla. Okay, you had me at...
Bourbon vanilla.
You had me at waffles, but bourbon made it a lot better. So, let's see. Daleman's since 1904, apparently, a authentic Dutch Stroopwafel minis. They look like little mini cookies with, like, waffle cone material. Oh, wow. Waffle cone material.
You can eat during the game.
That's interesting.
Is it caramel? Oh, I guess it's the flavor. No.
Well, no, it's got caramel in it. I think it's got caramel in between the wafers. Yeah, I can see it right there.
Okay.
So,
very thin.
Yeah, like, that's...
Okay. A little bit like cinnamon.
Holy shit.
Caramel in the middle. That's decent.
That's slam dunking, bro. I'm digging it.
Have a little like cream cheese, dip it in or something.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Wow. Was not expecting that. That's
Yeah, so they're mini, so they probably come in like the regular size, like
make you a bowl of ice
regular
cream,
waffle.
throw you a couple of these on top, a little bit of chocolate syrup. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Good little snack.
All right, well.
Fit a little bit better than the
They're a little chewier than I thought they
Blazing
would.
wings.
I like that. Yeah, golly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff.
All right, well,
We'll rate that at the end. Should be pretty high.
I'm digging it. Especially, like, I feel like things get a better review and a better rating if I don't expect them to be good, and then they end up blowing it out of the water. Like,
I've never heard of those. So
yeah, I've never heard of those before,
it's
but
always good to try something
they
new.
are pretty daggone good. So,
Sir.
we are going to start off tonight on a bit of a low note. I wanted to talk about it. I know I don't hit on basketball enough. It's not my favorite sport, but I do try to keep up with it. Especially, you run a sports podcast, you want to keep up on everything, even if it's little bits here and there.
Yeah, of course.
The big news coming out of the NBA, and I'm going to try to pronounce this properly. I think I am, but I'm going to try to pronounce it properly. The passing of Golden State Warriors assistant coach Dejan. Hang on, I had this earlier. Dejan Milojevic. That was it. Milojevic.
Yep.
To be honest, I don't watch enough basketball to really know the assistant coaches and stuff, so I did some research into the guy today. Man, what a great guy.
Yeah.
Insane loss for not just the Golden State Warriors, but the whole world of basketball. This is a great man. Great things he's done in his time there.
Off and on the court.
And again, I'm not good with name pronunciation, so you'll have to correct me along the way. But
Sounded right.
big time mentor and coach, former coach for Jokic.
Jokic?
Yeah, Jokic. That's what I was.
Okay, Nikola.
Sorry, I still had the Stroopwafel in my mouth.
Yeah.
Big time mentor for him. He's helped a lot of players in their careers, not just in the NBA, but he was a big international league coach from what I was reading. Great things, reading articles. Very well could have easily been an NBA coach here in the next few years.
Yeah, of course.
Big time loss. Our thoughts and prayers go out with his family, with the Golden State Warriors team. I know that's a huge loss. They've had to postpone a couple games because of it. Undoubtedly, I understand that one. That's insane.
Wow.
Milojevic, 46 years old. Young guy.
Too young.
Young guy. Apparent heart attack. I hate to start a podcast off on such a low note, but I really wanted to get that out there first and foremost. That even though I didn't watch the guy a lot, nothing but the utmost respect, especially after everything I read about the guy today. Great guy. Great man.
He was working with Steve Kerr and all the great athletes on that team. So, I mean, he had the potential and the coaching ability to definitely move up to the next level, like you said, in the next few years. Definitely because he would have been under Steve Kerr and learning from the best. So I think, without a doubt, he would have been in that role in the next few years. But,
well,
that's very, very sad. Very sad.
And again, I want to make sure that, it goes out there. We feel for players and coaches and everybody. These are still people. We see them on TV. It's easy to forget, these are high-profile athletes and coaches.
Yep.
And it's easy to forget, man, these people are human. Like, they're people. They're just like us,
Human
man. And those losses happen in a flash, and it's really sad to hear. And, again, one last time, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, to the team, to the NBA, everybody affected by this. And, just sad loss. Let's stick with the NBA for a few minutes. Try and bring the levels back up a little bit. I know you've been looking forward to this episode because this is kind of your niche right here.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it much.
Yeah, so I'm actually tonight we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna pass it off to you a little bit tonight because I've been doing some looking up and some checking. But I want you're the basketball knowledge guy between the two of us. I stick with baseball and football, but I can run basketball. You're a basketball guru, so lay it on me, Donnie. What do you got tonight? Tonight? We got some time. Let's do this.
I've been obsessed with basketball, football, and baseball forever, as long as I can remember. So I just am obsessed with getting, the most out of all the statistics, the details behind each player, each game. So, yeah, I've really been looking forward to us, putting in NBA subject on this. But I guess first we'll talk about just how many good teams there actually are, because all of the players just kind of shifted this past year. There were so many trades, so many big-time players traded for big-time players, like last year, or this past year, Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen got traded for Damian Lillard. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Damian is one of the best, clutch players of all time, but
Yes.
Drew Holiday was not only a good defensive player, but a good offensive player as well. So I kind of had some questions about that as an NBA fan, but, Damian's been doing well there. Drew's been doing well in Boston, so I can't take anything away from that. Seems pretty even, but
I'll say it seems like it's working out for both parties. So
exactly.
No one ended up really with the L on that one.
Yeah.
So
I honestly think, as a true basketball fan, I had some questions about it just because Drew Holiday is such a good defensive player and a good offensive player, and Damian has always been known for his clutch, offensive abilities and clutch moments, and that's all well and good, but in the end, just like any sport, defense wins championships, and a guy that can run a point and play that good a defense and also have the ability to score on the other end, I would have wanted to keep him, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Main thing in the NBA that surprised me the most is the Lakers and LeBron, how hot they were in that in-season tournament, and they just had all their momentum just shifting, in the right direction and win that trophy, and sky's the limit. And then since then, they have plummeted to, I think they're in 10th place overall, because how many good teams there are in the NBA right now. There's so many just good, talented, young teams. And
I know you're a big LeBron fan,
yeah.
and with me, there's no love lost with LeBron over here. I'm not a big fan. You followed LeBron since the get. You've been all over the NBA with him, cheering. I've seen you root for him friggin' through Cleveland and Miami to L.A., back to Cleveland after Miami, then to L.A. I've seen you root for him. You stuck with the guy. Not a huge fan over here, but it's kind of like Tom Brady in the NFL, man. Game recognized game. Got to respect his game. He is an amazing athlete. Crazy to see the other night, LeBron James. I think it was LeBron James playing on ESPN and Bronny playing at USC on ABC, or vice versa. It was one of the two. It was one way.
Night, yeah.
But to have them both playing, that's a special moment, I feel like, for a dad and a son. Even if they're at opposite ends, one playing over here, I know they're both in California, but one's over here, one's over here. They're both playing on TV, nationally televised at the same time. One college, one pro. That to me just kind of was cool.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool to see that.
It hits home, and that's why I like. I've always been a huge LeBron fan. No matter how many haters are out there, the guy is just off and on the court, just one of the best guys and athletes there is, and he'll forever be the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, because I lived through his whole era. And like he said, I was with him through the good and the bad, all those crazy close years in Cleveland. He couldn't lock it up. I stuck it out with him that whole time. But the main thing that I've been really excited to see, like you said, was getting to see Bronny. And last night was the night where they played at the same time, and he had his second career start on the Trojans, and this was coming back from that cardiac arrest thing. They didn't think he would even play this year. How much
scary
strength it
situation
takes to come
there
back
too, man.
from that situation.
Yeah.
And I always said, once I really want to see LeBron play with him 1 year. I think LeBron's going to try to stick it out in the NBA a few more years and give Bronny the few more college years of experience, maybe another one.
It would almost give that vibe of Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
That all of Ken Griffey and senior
happened.
and junior stuff is always I've always loved those moments. Even at the All-Star game, was it last year, the All-Star game where they both came out? That was, to me, I almost teared up, man, because I was like, that's an awesome moment. again, not a fan of LeBron, but something like that is a special thing, not just for them, but for the sport in general. Yeah, like that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, and like you said, like this guy's just playing, the best years of his life, at the very end, and he's still going strong. He still has that will because he wants to have that 1 year where he has the ability to play with his son still, keep himself healthy. And even his younger son, Bryce, he's a year or two younger than Bronny. He's coming up, and he's even bigger, taller than Bronny, so watch out for him in the next few years. But yeah, LeBron's just always, he's always been my favorite player because of what he does on and off the court. He doesn't talk a lot of smack, except for that Miami year where he said he was going to win 5, 6, 7 titles. Obviously he
see
swallowed
Dwayne
that
Wade
quickly.
look at him like,
yeah, please,
what are you doing?
Like, don't. But he did very well there.
He didn't achieve what he said he would, but he achieved more than what most.
He went 4 straight. He won 2 of them.
Yeah. So,
but main point I was trying to get at is just I'm excited to see his son blossom and just be able to become an NBA athlete because I want to see, when LeBron retires, his son come up. That would be like obviously my new favorite player.
Yeah.
And it would just go on and on. That'd be great.
Continue the cycle, man.
That'd be great to see. But I guess
let's talk about Harden.
Yeah. That's exactly where I was about to start with. The big trade, earlier in the year when, Sixers thought they, had it all. They had Embiid, Maxey, Harden, Harris.
Joel's
a
monster, dude.
Yeah, and he's coming off MVP season, so the sky's the limit for them. And then all of a sudden, something wasn't clicking in the locker room, just like you see NFL teams, MLB teams. If something's not clicking in the locker room or something's not right, and you don't agree with one of these guys' attitudes, you got to get rid of that.
Yep.
Especially earlier in the year, and they did it right. Because since then, Philly has been unstoppable. They deleted Harden off their team. They didn't really get much for him. They just kind of got cap space. And that dude, Tyrese Maxey, has been balling.
Dude, yeah.
Harris has stepped up this year, and Embiid's having another freaking MVP season.
Yeah.
And you look at Harden, and he goes to the Clippers, and I think they started 0-6 his first 6 games or something like that. And they were like, wow, this is a mistake. Why did we put another star on this team that hasn't won a title? Because you look, besides Kawhi winning in San Antonio and Toronto, he's the only champion on that team. Because Paul George had his reign in Indianapolis. Then he went to OKC. Now he's on the Clippers. No championships. And Harden was in Houston for a while. Then back and forth, it seems like 4 or 5 different teams, no championship. Westbrook, he's been waiting. He's been on a few finals teams, but hasn't had that ring. They're all waiting. And then 1 true champion's on the team. They're finally starting to mesh now. I think it takes time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when Harden was in OKC, he got 6th Man of the Year. And that season, that was the first one that I really was like, I'm watching all the way through the end of the season, the playoffs. I thought OKC that year. I was like, dude, he's
just a scorer.
Yeah, this is it. They've got it. Was very surprised that they didn't make it. And I mean, they gave it hell. The
only reason they didn't win that year is because of LeBron's super team.
Yeah.
That was the second year after they lost to Dirk. Like, we're not losing this year. And they had Bosh, Ray Allen came.
But Harden,
those guys.
Even then, they called it back then. They were like, he's going to be a great player. Like, he's going to be an awesome player. And he's been, to me, he's been consistent. He's shown a lot of greatness. He has had his down moments. He's definitely had his down moments. I feel like on and off the court, not necessarily off, but in the locker room and stuff, he's had his down moments.
Take over a little bit too much.
I think so. But the dude's, he's an amazing player, and it looks like, he's found another really good setting now that they're starting to mesh. They're really bringing it together, it looks like.
Like I said, they started 0-6, and I think it was like their last 18 games they played. They're like 15-3, 16-2.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Can't be beat. I think he's starting to play into that complimentary role finally, like score when I can.
Yeah.
When it's available, pass, and make the team better, because they have Kawhi and Paul George, 2 elite scorers. You don't need another scorer. You need a guy to spread the ball around. Okay, if it's your day to shine and you're hitting them, you're going to get the ball. But usually these guys, 85, 90% of the time, they're going to be hitting. Mm-hmm. Feed them. Let them have open opportunities. The more open opportunities you get, the more they get, you know.
And I'm a firm believer that, you know, being a baseball and a football fan, I feel like basketball is a much different monster. It takes time to mesh in basketball because, to me, football, you know, you have your offense, you have your defense, 2 separate squads. You have 11 guys on each. Each one follows a coordinator. They get into the game plan, they follow the game plan, and they come out there and they work as a unit. And I'm not saying that that basketball is not a team sport. It definitely is. But each player has an individual play style, I feel like, in basketball that you don't see in a lot of other sports. And sometimes it takes time for these especially high-level players to mesh, to get on the same page, to each buy in to not just what the coaches are doing, but to what each of their teammates are doing. Because you got to buy into your teammates, too. In a sport like basketball, you have to buy into what your teammates are doing, too. And once you hit that level where you can all kind of mesh together, everyone's on the same page, you're playing individually and as a teammate. And that to me is basketball. And that's what I feel like they're going through. They went through that for a few weeks, had a rough start, boom. They catch fire, they all start playing as a unit, still with their individual strengths, but now they're playing more as a unit, and now, I mean, they're on fire right now.
It's insane to me how spread out the talent is just because of all this youth coming up. Like, the Thunder, they got Chet Holmgren this year. They didn't have him last year. It was their number 1 overall pick from Gonzaga. He didn't get to play his first year. He was one of those guys that was, like, everyone is excited to watch him, and he did so good in preseason last year. Got hurt. This year, he has been tearing up the league, and he's playing with Gilgeous-Alexander and all those guys there. They're tearing it up. Minnesota with Edwards and Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, they're all tearing it up out there.
All hit me with this one then. Hit me with this one. So, right now, let's hit on this. Give me 2 of your biggest upside players for the next few weeks in the NBA. 2 of your biggest upside players.
Upside players? I think I wrote it down. The trade for OG Anunoby and RJ Barrett. That was one of those I didn't quite agree on just because RJ Barrett was like a number 2 overall draft pick, and he's been really good for them. As soon as he went to Toronto, started balling.
Yeah.
And they also gave him Emmanuel Quickly, which is also a good player for one guy, OG Anunoby. That was kind of questionable. I want to target those 2 guys because RJ Barrett's been balling for the Raptors. That honestly, they're giving away their team and they're not looking like a great team. Now the Knicks are a good team. They have OG, so we'll see what happens there. And the Pacers have been the surprising team of the year for me. I think they're leading the league in points. They just got Pascal Siakam from Toronto, which is probably their best overall player. So that adds to, the talent already out there. So
fair enough.
I feel like, those 2 guys, they're going to do work for their respective teams.
Big upsides. All right, so then let's flip the script.
Yeah, I'm babbling about basketball.
Give me. No, I'm still on it. Give me your downsides. Give me 2 downsides for the next few weeks in the NBA. Who are you expecting to fall off?
Fall off? Well,
or who's just not producing? Who is it? Who are we not betting on this week and next week?
Honestly, like you said, it was the first subject we had, but the Warriors, even before all the stuff that's been going on lately has happened, they don't look like the team that they have in previous years. They're really relying on Steph and Clay's 3 way too much. Draymond's been doing some real stupid things all on the court all the time, and it's escalating into too much where it's affecting the locker room and those young guys that are trying to blossom and learn from him.
And that's what we just talked about earlier, though, is when you get to that, you got to shake it up. You got to start looking in other directions.
Yeah, and it's so hard because Draymond's such a good player.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's won Defensive Player of the Year a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
He's a good offensive player when he wants to be, and he's a good leader. He's just got to keep that mouth shut, and he's got to learn to think like, if I'm doing this on the court, this is what the young guys are looking at, and they're going to be more likely to do stuff like that because I'm a great player. I'm supposed to be setting the example, and they see me doing this all the time, It might not be their mentality, but they see me doing, oh, well, it's okay if Draymond did it.
Well, and that's what I was just about to say is in that situation, when you are the mentor, when you are the veteran that they're looking to, two things that go hand in hand is setting the example for these young guys and self-control, understanding how to control yourself so the young guys see that too. Because these young guys, even if they know you're getting in trouble, you're getting fined, you're getting suspended, all that stuff, some of these guys still look at you as, hey, man, like, that's the guy I've looked up to for the last 5-6 years. Like, I've looked up to this guy. I'm still I want to be around this guy because I've looked up to him. And then you start to emulate some of the stuff he does. And it's easy to do that without realizing it. And then, boom, all of a sudden, now that's spread to, one or two other young guys who have high upside, but then, they can't get their shit together on the court or in the locker room or outside of the game itself. And, dude, careers get ruined doing that shit, man. It really does. You end up, teams don't want you. You end up going to 16 different teams, and then nobody wants you to play there. And then it's hard to catch fire and be productive, and then boom. That's an easy way to destroy a career. But I get that, and I agree with you, Golden State, man. They got some work to do. And, I mean, what has happened this week is definitely not making it easier. The only thing I can say for the silver lining in it is those guys at this point they have to sit down and say, hey, we're doing this for Coach. Like, we've got to get this shit together. We've got to do our best for him. We want to build something for his memory. And we want to show the legacy that he left here. Yeah. And that to me, if I'm a player, that's what I'm trying to band the guys together for. It's like, hey, let's do something. Let's do something for Coach. Let's show everybody that how much he meant to us. Let's pull this shit together and let's finish strong. Yeah. And I think that's what they got to look at.
That would be a good good thing to turn the season around for sure. I don't. Even before all of that happened, I really didn't like what was going on there with them. One more thing I guess I'll hit on is Boston, man. Boston has been the elite team of the year, and you talk about the downfall and everything. I hit on it a little bit to begin the NBA segment. The Damian Lillard Drew Holiday trade, I didn't agree with it wholeheartedly, and I honestly think even though the Bucks look strong with Giannis and Middleton, Lopez, and all those guys there, I honestly think they're going to get beat just like last year. They have too many teams that are either equal or a little bit better than them, in my opinion. Okay, you got the Sixers that have done so good this year, that did so good last year. They're going to have to be a team to beat. Miami's coming off a finals appearance. They're looking good again. All kinds of new teams, all kinds of teams with a lot of talent that can beat a team that scores a lot of points at any given day. You have to have defense to win these championships, especially in the NBA. And I just don't see... I see that trade hurting them, for one, because Boston is now a super team. I mean, they have Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White. I mean, that is a crazy starting lineup. I mean, I haven't seen one like it in a long, long time. And them all meshing well their first year together because they're so good on both sides of the ball. Like Kristaps is 7'2", he can block anything under the hoop. Then you got Holiday with the steals, and then you got Tatum and Brown that can shoot lights out every game. So you got so many good things going there, and I think they just made a detrimental mistake. When they did that, they just kind of threw the balance of the league off, kind of in my opinion. Kind of like when Durant went to the Warriors, and I knew, like as a LeBron fan, LeBron will probably get to the finals, but he won't beat Durant because he has Curry and Clay behind him, and Draymond, of course, before he was doing all this craziness. You got to deal with four guys. There was a four-headed monster there. It was impossible to beat him. It was impossible. So I kind of see it like that. Even, Boston's going to lose a game here and there in the regular season. I don't see them losing 4 in a row in the playoffs. They're going to be very hard to beat, especially with that team if they stay healthy. So,
write it down.
Yes, sir.
Don's prediction over here.
I Keep it up here.
He's been pretty good lately. He's been pretty good. All right. Well,
Change base a little.
we're gonna flip it up. We're gonna change it over. We're gonna get back into a sad note. Get the sad, depressing notes out of the way.
Another one.
Announced Monday. We suffered a big one. Monday after the game, we lose to the Bucks. Sucks. Shit happens. Personally, I don't think we were the team that we wanted to be anyway going into playoffs, but I think hurting worse than losing the game is hearing the announcement of Jason Kelsey's retirement. I
Very sad.
am still bummed. Nothing but respect for Jason. To this day, one of my favorite all-time Eagles. Will definitely go down as the greatest Eagles center of all time.
Yeah.
That not without even a question. Most likely, to me, is going to be pretty close to a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's got the ring. He's got the stats. He's got everything you need to be in. I think you see Jason Kelsey in the Pro Football Hall of Fame sooner than later.
100%.
Got to respect his decision. Got to do it. As much as he's still playing on a prime level, man.
Yeah, he was at the top of his game.
You know, sometimes even if the team doesn't win, sometimes it's best to go out on top, and he definitely is. He is going to go out as the best center in the league right now, man. I mean, he is. I think he made a good decision. I know that I'd love to see him come back, but even after last year, him opting to come back for one more year, he told everybody, he said, "I'm going to give this one more run. We're going to try to make this happen." He gave us everything that he had, and then some, man. I respect the man. I love the guy to death. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, one day I'd love to meet the guy, just to shake his hand and tell him how much of a fan I am of him on and off the field. His podcast with his brother, awesome podcast. I love listening to those guys. They're hilarious. Got choked up seeing the podcast after his announcement, man. That was
sad.
That was hard to watch, man. Strong dude, man. Strong dude. He is the brotherly shove.
Yeah,
he is the brotherly shove.
People think just because Jalen benches 600 pounds, it was all him. Like he's the sole reason that play was so successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 95% of the time, he was the one that initially gets the snap off as quick as humanly possible, and then
sets the lane, man.
Sets the block. I mean, the amount of ability it takes to perfect that, and how often he didn't jump off or didn't have a false start and didn't do anything wrong in that play, and to get us that 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 every time was just unbelievable. And obviously, many other things besides just the tush push. I mean, he got to play with McNabb, with Wentz, with Foles, with Hurts. I mean, he got to play with all of our good guys.
Oh yeah, he's been around some elite players.
Yeah, and he's seen so many good players come in and out of our organization, and
not just the players. He's seen the ups and the downs of the Eagles. He's seen us at our best.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there for our worst, and we're far from our worst right now. But we've still got some work to do.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, just want to throw it out there, Jason. We love you, man. Congratulations on your retirement. Congratulations on an epic career in the NFL.
Healthy retirement. I mean,
absolutely
this year,
smart retirement, man. I'm
healthy,
telling you, smart retirement.
Get to retire and start his family life and continue being a father and everything.
Yes. Enjoy
I respect that.
Having a family while you're young enough to enjoy having a family.
Yeah, and
watch your kids grow up,
go back
do
out
all
there
that
and
stuff.
get hurt again, and then something affect you for the rest of your life. So I mean, I still think being an O lineman for all those years, it's gonna, he's gonna have those permanent bumps and bruises. But to go out the way he did, just fighting every play.
Yeah, I'll say not on the
snap.
level that most have in his position, because I mean
he didn't have that major injury.
He's never really had that terrible major injury, and he's stayed relatively healthy his entire career.
Yeah, I'll give him that. He was a big dude, man.
He takes very well care of himself. But again, let's move off from the downside of losing our best center of all time. Let's talk about the NFL as a whole. We're in the playoffs, wildcard weekend. I'm going to just go ahead and start it off, man. Golly, the NFC East is so damn weak right now. We're so damn weak. One of those games I was not shocked about. I knew that Tampa Bay was going to be a good team coming in. It was going to be all about the quarterback play, what Jalen comes to play and what Baker comes to play. And I think it was a perfect storm against us. The Jalen we got out there was not the Jalen we needed, and Baker came out looking like a guy who was ready to go to a divisional round.
Yeah, and, a lot of things led up to that lead they started getting, especially in the first half. Our defense gave us so many opportunities to come back, so many. They were on our side of the field like 2 straight drives, and we pushed them back with a sack on 3rd down. Just something like that. That should ignite your offense. That should get you going. Okay. We fucked up last drive.
Defense got us. Let's go.
Let's go. And all right, so I'll tune it back to when it was 16-9. We had like 1:22 left in the half. Okay, I think we had 1 timeout. That is plenty of time to get a touchdown, but at least get a field goal. At least get in field goal range. First play, so like a 9-yard pass. Get up to the line. Okay, getting up to the line. Then you run the ball, which we didn't do, but 12, 13 times all game.
Yeah.
Run the ball on 2nd and 1, and let that clock run 45, 50 seconds for a 1-yard play. Even if you pass on 2nd and 1 and it's incomplete, the clock stops. Mm-hmm. You can't do stuff like that. Even stuff like that, that's mediocre to me. And that's all OC. That's all OC. Yes. And honestly, I'm going to say, Jalen did not look like himself, especially obviously the last 6 weeks. But something was mentally wrong with him. Yes. He's usually calm, cool, and collected in those interviews and stuff, and I love him for that. He's not loud. He's not trying to show off. Something seemed off.
He seemed separated from the game itself.
I don't know.
And I've never seen. There was a couple plays at the end.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and there was a couple plays at the end. He came to the line, and the camera zoomed in on him when he got to the line. And he had a look in his eyes that I've not seen, where he almost looked worried. Like he was looking around like he didn't know what to do. He's, getting up to set for the play, and I saw him, looking around just like... And I've never seen him like that before. I've never seen that look in his eyes. Even when we've been losing, he would come up to the line knowing exactly what we needed to do, set up, call whatever audibles he needed to, call whatever switches, call whatever assignments out, snap the ball, and be zoned in. And he did not have that. He was not sharp. He was not crispy in that game, man, at all. He was very soggy in that game.
Because if you don't like the play that the OC calls, you change it at the line. You see the defense, what they're doing, change it up. You have that ability. You are the leader. You're the captain. You can do stuff like that. And he was not doing stuff like that like he did last year. ROC, Sykin, was the sole reason that our team was so good last year, but he made a lot of changes at the line. I remember all the time reading that defense, changing it up to the run-pass option, anything to throw the defense off.
Do you think that's something with a new OC, that new OC comes in and says, hey, you can still make the plays, but I want to start discouraging that. I want to start discouraging you changing it quite as much. Whereas last year, it was kind of like, hey, man, you got free reign. If you see something, say something. Yeah. Do something.
You let him
make
do what
it happen.
You let him
because
play free.
That's what I saw a lot of, especially in the last 5-6 weeks. I saw a lot of going up the line. I mean, dude, we watched games where we were watching the defense line up, and it's like, if they're doing what I think they're doing, that's got to be a check. That's got to be a check off right now. And there's no audible, there's no check, there's no assignment checkup or anything like that. And then all of a sudden they snap the ball, and he's got 0.25 seconds with the ball before it's blown up in the backfield. And I'm like, even with a great offensive line, what happened there? Like, we're not on the same page. We're not operating as a unit right now. This is getting kind of embarrassing, to be honest, especially in that game. We have a lot of talent on this team, man. We have a lot of talent. And let's be honest here, as football fans, not as Eagles fans, let's be honest. Our window is not going to be open forever.
It was I think this year, even if we didn't win, we still could have kept the momentum going. Okay, we lose a close game to San Fran, or we lose a close game to the Lions. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
We played a great season. We finished strong. Us finishing the way we did, losing to Arizona, and then shouldn't have played our players against the Giants. Okay, we did. We lost guys that game, too.
Which in reality, though, we had to in my book because you have to play that game.
Bad luck. Bad luck on top of bad luck. We lose to AJ this first catch. Then the Jalen Hurts dislocates his finger. We lose Sidney Brown, torn ACL. I mean, good grief, man.
But to me,
we weren't even trying to do that.
You have to play all your starters in that Giants game. You have to play that game with the assumption that the Commanders are going to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah. They were for a little bit.
The Commanders, dude, they played hard in that game, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The Eagles, we've got a lot of work to do this offseason. I know these next few weeks is going to be rough in that facility because I think that as a team, I think we're lost right now. I know our OC just interviewed with Atlanta, and to be honest, I'm not the kind of guy who's like, oh, we need to get rid of these coaches and these coordinators and all that. Bro, send them to Atlanta. Flattest offensive calling I've seen on the Eagles in so long. Super predictable. You got Christian McCaffrey on the air calling what plays we're doing before we snap the ball. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, if a guy is watching and calling the plays, our plays before they're happening, that is a problem. That is way too damn predictable. If you've got other guys just calling play after play after play. Yeah. If Romo was in the booth watching, Romo would have probably called an entire offensive series. Like, if you're being predictable. We need somebody, either we need our OC to revamp what he does and to become less predictable. He needs to change what he does. Or, if he can't change his play style and we can't make that work, let him go somewhere else, see if he can have success. Let's find somebody in here, new, fresh ideas. Bring somebody in who can kind of ignite this team because that's what we need. Our fire has been put out right now. We need some kind of ignition on this.
I don't know why, every week in practice, we got away with the first 11 games being 10-1. We should have been gracious for that. And I feel like we weren't playing our best at 10-1. I was like, okay, we're not playing our best. I can't wait to see what our best looks like. That was my mentality. Okay, we're not playing well, but good God. After 10-1 or after 11 games we're 10-1, we're not playing our best. Let's see what we do the end of the year. I have some statistics which will probably blow your mind. Last year when Steichen was there, we were running motion over 60% of the time. League average was about 51, 52. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's a league average. So most teams run at least 51% motion. Okay? To throw the defense off. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a great defense, it throws them off a little bit.
Or to see what they're doing. If you've got a guy running all the way across, he's most likely in man coverage.
The ball, something's going to be.
Where to. Yeah.
So this past year, this guy it was his first year as an OC. I get it. You're nervous and everything like that. You were so nostalgic in what you were calling. You zeroed it in. You simplified everything. We ran 26% of our plays in motion. League average was once again about 51, 52. Do you know what San Fran runs with Ayuk and Debo and McCaffrey and even Kittle?
It's probably
over 70%. Yeah. And you know how much they confuse their defense? That's the whole point.
Yes.
That's the whole point. Keep them guessing.
Yes.
You can have the best 11 guys on defense, and if their mental is messed up, guess what? You're going to be messing with them the whole game. You're going to have success.
They play disconnected at that point.
Exactly. Yes. And we were not doing anything to fool Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles, I was literally like, it was nails on a chalkboard in my mind. I wanted to bash my TV in. These guys were smiling on the sideline. Coach was behind the thing. It was like an angle of, he was smiling. Call blitz, call blitz, call blitz. Because every single time, the 13, 14 times we ran, they were all over that. And then they blitzed and gave Jalen pressure every single time, it seemed like. And he was not comfortable behind the pocket, especially without AJ there. They knew from start to finish how to make us uncomfortable as an offense. Our defense did great. And the reason we gave up all those points at the end, because our defense was on the field 78% of the freaking game.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to give up those long balls. They're gutted, tired, man. They made so many plays for you. You got to make some plays for them.
Well, and they
got to.
So they
It was
had
insane.
They had Ray Lewis. I don't know if you saw it. Ray Lewis was with the Mannings, and they were talking about while during the Eagles game. And dude,
Extra day too.
Ray, man,
Monday night.
Ray he hit it so perfectly on the head on offense and defense. He was saying, he was like, the Eagles won't stop passing. He was like, at this point, you have time. You have to play old school smash mouth football. He said, run the ball down their throats.
Read option.
He said, just
Jalen's a
run.
runner.
He said, keep running. You have an amazing running back and an awesome offensive line. He was like, run the ball. Run the ball. He was like, they just keep passing. He was like, that's all they're doing is passing. And then when he talked about defense, man, he was like, these guys are playing, just like I said, they're playing disconnected football. He was like, they are playing individual defense.
Yeah.
He said, you cannot win games
Soft
playing individual defense.
Stuff like that.
He said, dude, these guys, he was like, I haven't seen the first group of defenders funnel a player in. 3 guys should funnel a player in so they all have a shot at a tackle. He's like, none of them are doing that. He was like, they're playing individual defense. He said, you will never win the big games playing individual defense. You have to play as a unit. You have to play on the same page. You got to work together on these plays. If you can't tackle a guy, slow him down so the next guy can make the tackle. He was, dude, listening to Ray Lewis, I was like, man,
that's the guy
I wish we had Ray Lewis as our defensive coordinator because the man knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, he could get us fired up on defense. I don't care how many people were injured. You let Ray Lewis on the sideline as a coordinator, dude, he's going to friggin' fire you up.
And that's the thing. There was no life. There was no life on the sideline.
Yeah.
Sirianni's usually pumped up and everything. AJ's usually pumping up everybody up. There was no excitement. As soon as Jalen went to the bench every single time, straight face. He wasn't even looking at film or anything. It was like there was something wrong with him mentally. And when there's something wrong with you mentally and you're trying to have a whole game plan in your head, it's not going to work because that has been affecting him in some way. And, he's calm, cool, and collected about it. I hope, it doesn't get to him too much. He's a winner. He always has been a winner. I believe in him. I love him. Years going forward, he'll be fine. We need a new OC to mix things up. Somebody exciting that can work with Sirianni, that can, put some juice back in this offense. We have the talent. We got Smith, Brown, Goddard, Swift, Gainwell, O-line. Obviously we're going to try to target a center in the draft to replace Kelsey, but I think our O-line is still very, very good. We have the team. We have the team, and we gotta keep it together, and hopefully just don't let this last year get to us too much. Try to build forward.
Let's move on. I'm depressed about the Eagles. Kelsey leaving, the way the season ended. Let's move on.
Let's talk about something else.
Well, we're gonna
kind of made our Saturday better.
It did, and it made it better, but in a funny way, it kind of made it worse for me too. So don't get me wrong. I know we talked a lot about it. We were watching the game. Dallas losing to Green Bay. I said in the last podcast, I hoped Green Bay would dismantle the Cowboys. I hoped that they would embarrass them on every side of the football.
Even you said.
And then I called Dallas to win that game by 20 points because Dallas had such an all-star cast to make it happen. When I didn't get a chance to turn the game on right when it started, and I'm sitting here in the kitchen doing stuff, and I start getting text messages from the group, and I'm like, what's going on? And Rachel's like, Green Bay right now is putting it on them. And that's when you start texting me. I'm like, what is going on? So when I finally got to sit down and watch the game, yes, I was extremely happy. It was like Santa got back to the North Pole and was like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot something in the bag. Let me go back and deliver this one to Randy.
Even though we lost, I was like, that is Christmas for me.
It kind of sucks because, truthfully, it makes us and the Cowboys going out the way we did, it makes the NFC East look like we've come so far from our glory days. I remember a time when Washington was decent. The Giants were studs. The Eagles were studs. The Cowboys were studs. And every team out there feared the NFC East. And we have come so far. We have all 4 teams have fallen from greatness. And to be honest with you, the Cowboys and the Eagles probably are going to be the top two teams in that division for a while. But even with us, man, there's no guarantees, and especially after seeing how the season ended for both teams. There's no guarantees. For lack of better words, the last thing I want to see is the NFC East turn into the NFC South, where you have teams that are barely 500 making the playoffs as division winners. I mean, I don't want to see any of us do that because it makes all the teams look weak in the division. But I do want to talk about it because I don't want to just sit here and harp on the Cowboys and how they lost that game. I also want to talk about Green Bay and how they won that game.
Yeah.
Green Bay played an absolute... They came into that game like a team that knew if we want to win, we have to play perfect.
Do you want to know why? Personally, I picked the Packers to win. The whole world's picking Cowboys to win. All the ESPN analysts, every single one of them. That's why I bet Ronnie. I said, if the Cowboys win, with a big if in capital letters, they won't win by more than 3. In my mind, I wholeheartedly saw them losing, at least by 10. You know why? Because I've been watching Green Bay more than the Cowboys the last 8 weeks. And this dude, Jordan Love, like, people don't think it's crazy now because they're talking about him being, oh, now he's going to be, the future of this team, all-star, blah, blah, blah. They were not saying shit about him before that game. Everyone was like, the Cowboys are going to do their thing.
Yep.
They're going to roll over this team.
I was right there with them.
The defense is going to have holes. They're going to attack Jordan Love all game. Guess what? 0 sacks. The man had a almost perfect passer rating, one of the highest passer rating, above Aaron Rodgers, above Brett Favre, in Packers history, in a playoff game.
And let's not forget, Love killed it out there, but let's not forget a couple of other facets of that team. Let's talk about that young defense of theirs that showed up in that game.
Jair Alexander healthy. Jair Alexander healthy. They haven't had him really healthy all year. Aaron Jones.
I can't stay off these things.
Aaron Jones healthy the last 4 or 5 games.
Aaron
made
Jones,
an impact.
bro.
He makes an impact. When Aaron Rodgers was playing, he was a big impact because he kept the run going 5, 6, 7 yards, and then he would open up the pass for Rodgers. He has been a focal point of this offense for years and years and been a main reason they've had success. I knew after watching, I mentioned this a week before the Cowboys game, the Buffalo game, how they exploited them. It's exactly what the Packers did from the first drive to the last drive. They ran the ball just like we weren't doing. Like you said, Ray Lewis was saying, run, 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 run.
Yes.
They were keeping that hole up the middle so big. You want to guard the pass every time? Okay, we're running right up the middle.
Down their throats.
And guess what? They scored, got the ball back, scored, got the ball back, scored, pick 6, 27-0. It's over at that point. We were texting each other at halftime. They almost threw that pick, and you said that touchdown might get him back in. I knew. That's a depleted team. That man was playing nervous the whole game. Well, you thought Jalen looked nervous. Dak was.
And I'm going to tell you, you know what Dak has on his shoulders that makes it that puts him in a bad place.
He had pressure.
Every playoff game he plays, and I'm going to tell you now, the blame from me goes majority on Jerry Jones. He has the pressure put on him of this high expectation to be like, you are going to be the great quarterback. Dude, he's an MVP candidate this year. He's an MVP candidate. I'm not going to sit here and dog on the Cowboys. They were a good team. They were a good team. No, not after that game. But they were a good team going to the playoffs. That's just their stigma. It's the Cowboys stigma. And quite honestly, one of their other stigmas is Dallas in December always shits the bed. Dude, they didn't this year.
January.
They didn't this year. But December was always their month, and they didn't this year. They looked good through December. So, I'm never going to say I feel bad for the Cowboys because I don't. I loved watching every minute of it. For all our Cowboy fans out there, I apologize for you, but I enjoyed every second of watching that game.
They liked us watching.
I know even all the people that were like, oh, man, they were trying at the end, though. They were trying. Man, that was too little too late way after that shit was out of hand.
Hold on. A new record, tune in to Stephen A. on First Take because just like a lot of the Eagles fans of the world, I love seeing his reaction to the Cowboys lose. I geek when I watch him laugh and his take on it and everything. This man talked about 48-16, at that point, second and third stringers in the game. The game's over.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter that Dak threw for 200 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And those stats look kind of good at the end. His final stats were like 20 for 38, 194, 2 picks, like 1 touchdown. That was his final stat. Because when the first string defense came off the field, that was when the game's over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The game's over.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter at that point. That's garbage time, empty calorie stats.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that with Shannon Sharp. Empty calories right there. What is the freaking use of talking about that? There's none. 48. It should have been 58-60 to 16 if they would have kept their starters
We're talking
on the
about
field.
playoffs, not fantasy football.
Good
at that
God.
point.
If they would have kept their starters out on the field, then what would have been?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been no 32.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow that. So,
well, they played to the end. I'll give them that. But it was a great game. I know that just because of who Dallas is and who the undertones of Dallas in the media and in the NFL, I know a lot of people talked about the big thing was like how Dallas dropped the ball. Man, Dallas dropped the ball. I can't believe Dallas went in there and screwed it all up. I think you have to give credit where it's due. Green Bay played at a level that nobody thought they were capable of in that game. And it really, football is a game of momentum, man. We say it all the time. That's a huge win for them moving forward in the playoffs. They could lose the divisional round. I don't know. But they've got the momentum. To me, the ball is in their court. They've got the ability. It's their games to lose at this point.
Yeah, and you know who has the most NFC championships in the last, 22, 23 years? Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Because of coaching, for one. I'll give it to Mike McCarthy. When he played for Green Bay and he had that elite quarterback, just like Belichick and Tom Brady, a quarterback complements a coach very well.
Yeah. He
He was a great coach there. I'll give him that. He's a great coach in the Cowboys. But a great quarterback complemented him and led him down the path of,
greatness.
Wins and greatness. And that's why they were so good in the playoffs. That dude LaFleur at Green Bay, he coached Rodgers for a few years. And guess what? That dude Love studied everything he knew off Rodgers.
Oh, yeah. You can tell. Yeah, you can tell.
That flick of the throw. I mean, everything is matched Rodgers 100% identical. And that's how he plays his game, even running the ball. He's looking down, and then he hands it off. He has that fake to him, like nobody knows what he's doing. And if he improves that over the years, it's going to be very scary.
Yeah.
What that man could do. It's just stuff like that. It's a winning mentality. You got to have guys that teach you the right thing to do.
You got to have guys that are willing to buy into the program, and I think they have.
And I think with Dak, that man, he's such a good athlete, and he's had great coaches, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, all those guys, but they're panicking too much every year. They're changing too much stuff up every year. Small thing, giving away Zeke to a New England Patriots team that didn't need him.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have done it.
No.
Last year, in my opinion, Cowboys had a better team. One, because they ran the crap out of the ball. And Zeke did so good last year, and it complemented Pollard. Pollard had 1,000 yards as a backup.
Yeah.
And he was getting all those big plays because he was fully healthy. He was ready to go when he was called because Zeke was running all the ground and pound play.
Yep.
Then Pollard would come in with the spread that he'd run for that big play almost every game.
It kind of reminds me of Baltimore this year when Keaton was still in, and you had Gus and Keaton. Gus was your hardcore, I need 3 yards, give me everything you've got. You run the Gus bus a few plays, and then all of a sudden Keaton comes in and breaks off a 29-yard run. That was Dallas last year, too. Like, they had that ability. But
Pollard starting this year, you saw how different it was. I mean, when you gave away their OC to the Chargers, McCarthy said he was going to run the ball more.
Yeah.
Guess what? They ran the ball less this year by far because, one, they relied solely on Pollard and a rookie the whole year. Mainly Pollard. He's not one of those guys where you're ground and pound 30 rushes a game. He's not like that. He's not the build. He's a quick, shifty guy that needs open space to run. All those little 3-4 yard runs where he's getting tackled by everyone, that's gonna hurt.
They do a number on him.
Yeah, and over time it's going to get to him a lot sooner. They need to go after a guy like Derrick Henry, in my opinion. I know I would hate to see that, but that guy would truly complement their team. They'd have a ground and pound guy, still have Pollard, but.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's move on. We've sat on the Eagles and the Cowboys for a little while now. Let's go ahead and move on because we've got a few more teams we need to hit on real quick. We're running out of time. Let's go ahead. Let's finish the NFC out. Man, Rams and Lions, great game. What an amazing game.
I knew that was going to be a good one.
That one, I feel like there was a whole range of emotions. That was just a roller coaster of emotions for both teams during that game. Are guys hurt? Are they going to make it? Oh, my God, are we going to win? Oh, we've got this in the bag. No, wait a minute. What's happening? Dude, and then at the very end, dude, that was crazy. That was a great game to watch. I didn't really have a dog in that fight, to be honest with you. But it was a very entertaining game to watch. The storylines were there. You had Goff and you had Stafford. You know, you had everything you needed in that game for a storyline playoff game was there. And it was a great game.
Luck hasn't been in on Detroit's side since '91, but I'll give it to him. That was a hell of a game. Probably one of the best games of the weekend. However, I hated to see how it ended.
Yeah.
Because Puka, who is Offensive Rookie of the Year this past year, he had one of the best years that I've seen out of a rookie receiver in a long time.
He's a wily receiver, dude.
And he just tore it up every single game in and game out. Even when Cooper was out and he came back in, you know, he was still the number one receiver in that game.
Yeah.
I think Cooper only had like 27 yards. Puka had a $184.
Yeah.
It was like 3rd and 13, 3 minutes left, and they throw him that ball. He was getting held the whole route.
It was.
The whole route. And even when he jumped up, they weren't playing the ball. They tore his hands away, and I'm like, okay, you know, let him play, but just like
you gotta call the blatant
just like
stuff.
last year, dude, you call a really bad pass interference call against it. That was the reason we lost the bowl. You gotta call it right there, man. Like, dude, he was obviously getting open the whole game. That's what they had to do to prevent him from catching the ball. You gotta, especially at the end of the game, right? You gotta see that. That was the reason they lost, because he gave the ball back. Detroit with their good offense ran a few plays. Amon-Ra St. Brown first down. Game over. They win by 1 point. Dude, Stafford was getting the ball down the field every time against them.
Well, and there for a minute, man, it looked like Stafford wasn't coming back in that game. When he went down and hit his head, I was like, he is KTFO, man.
Yeah.
He is knocked the fuck out.
Bad.
Like, I was like, he's not coming back in. And then he was right back in the game. Was like, dude, they had Wentz warming up on the sidelines. Like, he was ready to roll. And
out of there.
Yeah, it was crazy. But it was a great game. Detroit, man, making stories, making history for their team.
Yeah, I hope they go, for real.
They've got a strong team. They have a really strong team.
I don't see Tampa Bay beating them, honestly.
I don't either.
Sorry.
and you know, and let's not take anything away from Tampa Bay.
They
Tampa Bay is a good team,
coaches.
but I'm going to tell you now, Detroit's defense is lights out better than the Eagles' defense was. Tampa Bay is not going to get an easy pass on defense, on the defensive side when they're on offense, like they did against the Eagles. Detroit is going to hurt them when they're on defense.
Who's one of their best playmakers on that defense? C.J. Garner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Guy that we had last year on our Super Bowl team. Imagine that.
Well, so, yeah, that's – and then, you know, you've got the Niners sitting on their week off. I think that we all know at this point, you know, all the roads go through San Francisco. They're
going to be tough.
They are the dominant team. They've been the dominant team all season. We've said it before. The only thing that holds them back at all is injuries, and they're friggin' healthy to the brim right now. They're going to be a tough road. But
I think that they are missing a few key guys on defense. They did lose their starting safety for the year. It was an all-pro. He had a really weird last name. I can't remember. He had a really weird last name. He had like Hawaiian guy or something.
I got you.
They lost a safety. They are going to be missing a few defensive guys. They said that is the way Green Bay is going to be able to keep up in that game, in my opinion. I think they go in.
Oh, wow.
The Hufanga, I think, right?
So let's see.
Hufanga.
We've got Farrell out. Greenlaw's questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Gray is on IR. George Odom is on IR.
Hufanga's not in.
Yeah, Hufanga. Yep, he is on IR now.
Yep. Yeah, that was
back
the main
in
guy.
November. Yep,
that was
you're
the
right,
main
you're
guy
right.
they lost. Yeah.
But to me, honestly, they still have.
No, they have guys.
They have backups for their backups.
Yeah.
Backups, like they have.
I just think Green Bay's dangerous because I don't know if you know they are the youngest team by far in the league, and they got guys that are just playing free right now. Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson, Wicks.
You can't plan for those guys.
All those tight ends, all those receivers, Jordan Love, Aaron Jones. They'll have A.J. Dillon back, the O-line. They're all young. They're all healthy. Dude, you can't count them out. Because just like against the Cowboys, what are they going to do? They're going to go in and have those long drives. That's how you beat 49ers. You keep them off the field. I don't care how good an offense they are. If you keep them off the field, you score, you can win the game. And I think that has to be the formula for them.
I think so, too. I think it'll be interesting divisional week. We got to switch over to AFC. We got to run through this. We're running out of time over here.
Yeah, we were a little stuck on it.
So, AFC right now, Ravens, first off, sitting with their week off. I'm going to tell you right now, Dr. Mike would hate me right now, but I'm going to tell you now, I'm not going to be surprised if the Ravens come out flat-footed after their
I hate bye weeks personally.
I feel like one or the other team usually has some issues, whether it's the NFC team or the AFC team when they come out off that first round bye. I'm concerned about the Ravens coming off that first round bye flat-footed because they've got some good competition. They've got some really good competition. Let's be honest here. The AFC right now, there's not a slouch team left in the AFC that's playing.
Remember, C.J. Stroud just beat up on the #1 defense in football above Baltimore.
Dude.
Cleveland was #1 in overall defensive efficiency in football, and they have 45 points.
C.J. Stroud.
The dude's a veteran already. He's incredible.
That's what I said last week. I was
incredible.
like, in 9 weeks of this season, I feel like in a matter of 9 weeks of the season, he had a half a career happen to him in like 9 weeks of the season. A big injury, a rookie part of his year, showing up, learning the techniques, then all of a sudden becoming a veteran. All this stuff happened in like a span of 9 weeks this season for him. He has blossomed beautifully into the friggin' player he is, into a quarterback that could quite honestly lead a team to a Super Bowl.
Dude, imagine if he had Tank Dell. That dude was his #1 guy going through the year.
It's been nuts. He's an all-star in my book for years to come.
Tough game.
I think Texas. I think Texas gives them a hell of a fight.
Houston.
I think it's a close game. I think the Texans give them a huge battle.
I do too.
Did I say Texas or Texans?
Yeah, you said
Texans. But I think they give the Ravens a run for their money, and I could see the upset happening there.
100%.
Just because the Ravens aren't real. I mean, they have a ton of strengths, but for some reason, I just have this weird feeling that bye could hurt them more than it could help them. I feel like they're that kind of team that rides that momentum train. They want to keep that momentum. You want to keep that momentum week to week to week to week to week. And every week that you have it, it builds and you get stronger and stronger. And all it takes is 1 week to stop. And it just stops you in your tracks.
Look at the last few years. I'll talk about it real quick in their draft. Mm-hmm. The Texans. They got Nico Collins in the last few years. And this past year, they got Will Anderson Jr., who's been playing every snap on defense, wrecking ball, and C.J. Stroud, second overall. Carolina jumped to #1 and skipped C.J. Stroud to get Bryce Young.
That's going to be something to talk to. Which, let's be honest,
I'm not going to take anything away from Bryce Young. That was not a team.
Bryce Young did not have weapons.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying C.J. didn't really have the weapons either, but he made weapons.
Exactly.
He made guys into weapons. Bryce Young, he still has a very high upside in his career. One rookie season, you can't sit here and bank on that.
He just got kind of the short end of the stick.
They're in rebuild anyway.
Texans were in go mode.
Yes. Carolina's in rebuild. They're going to need some time. They're going to need some players to develop. That's just where they're at. You can't expect that guy to have a 12-win season with that kind of team.
And Stroud I don't see his success being that good. Maybe a little bit more, but not really.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a very similar situation. It's all about how if Bryce would have moved forward the same way CJ did. CJ he had all the right moves. He knew when to make things happen. And that's
quarterback.
So, but it was a good game. I was happy to see the Texans beat the Browns. It was a good game. I know we had our boys up in Ohio. I kind of liked seeing the Browns put up some fight. I talked to them while the game was going on and things were still looking close. And then the game fell apart for Cleveland. Big Joe had a couple rough plays, and I felt like that was the decline right there. Is when Joe kind of started
for a while.
Yeah. Which honestly, man, Joe Flacco, dude, he did phenomenally to keep them together.
To do that.
No, absolutely not. Joe Flacco is the kind of quarterback to me that is going to throw 2 or 3 picks a game, but he's going to throw almost 400 yards, and he's going to keep you in it.
Yeah.
Almost like a veteran Jameis. Like, Jameis is going to throw a shit ton of yards, probably because you're going to be behind a lot of the game. He's going to throw some picks, but you're going to get some yards and some touchdowns.
And
it's going to happen.
I'll throw something out there that a lot of people don't realize. First game of the year, you lose Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And then you lose Deshaun Watson like week 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You have both of those guys in with that team and that defense, Amari Cooper and Njoku and all those guys.
Yeah.
That's
sky's the limit on that one.
all-star team.
Most definitely.
Like, because Deshaun was ready.
Yeah.
Like, especially if he had Chubb behind him, that would have been elite. Mm-hmm. And he gets Kareem Hunt back. I mean, they'll have all those guys next year. They're gonna be a team to reckon with.
Well,
for sure.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Kansas City in the friggin' frozen game for Miami. That was a wild game.
Miami is not used to playing in
no
freezing weather,
and
let alone negative 30 degrees.
I think that was one that everybody kind of had a feeling Kansas City was going to be better prepared.
You got to give it to them. They played in that weather.
Yeah.
They ran their plays, and they dogged them.
Absolutely.
I mean, dude, Tyreek got one big play, and honestly was lucky. Tua threw it up in the air. The defender ran past the ball, and Tyreek made the play. That should have been a shutout.
I think the game looks very similar. I think the score at the end still looks very similar to what it was if it's 50 degrees in a dome. Like I think the game is still. Kansas City came prepared.
More.
Kansas City came prepared.
They had that dude Pacheco that's like a freaking robot.
Yeah.
And like the guy runs like a horse.
Kansas City, man, I've said it before. They're a team you have to watch out for in the playoffs because they can flip a switch and become a whole different monster once you're in the big games. And, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Kansas City, they look like a team that could contend when they played the Dolphins. They looked like a team. Patrick Mahomes, Patty looked back in his old tricks, got his bag of old tricks open and was pulling some stuff. Dude, for as cold as it was, my man was moving around still and doing what he had to do and making plays happen. Like you say, you have Pacheco, like you got guys out there that looked like they were ready to turn it up and continue their season, and they are. Miami had a great season. They've got weapons. They're going to be good moving forward.
Yeah.
This just isn't their playoff. This wasn't their year.
And they have a lot of all-stars. They'll be okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about a team who I feel the window is closing on. Let's talk about a team who I feel Let's talk about Buffalo. Buffalo moves on, but let's be honest. The window on Buffalo could close in the next couple of seasons. It could close on any one of them. They are running out of time.
I was going to say real quick, as Kansas City, I don't hate that team. Last year's Super Bowl is one of the best that I've watched. I honestly,
absolutely.
In my sole opinion, I thought we had the best overall team last year. We gave up the game at the end. It was a great game.
Yeah.
Went down to the end. Whatever. It happens. They were champions. They deserved it. Last year, I don't think they have as good of a team as they have this year because if you remember in the Super Bowl, I think they had like 280 total yards. Patty didn't even have over 200. They had like 60 or 70 yards rushing. That's not even how they beat us. This year, they have a crazy good running game with Pacheco. Their O-line's all healthy, and now their pass game is starting to build up a little bit with Rashee Rice and Kelsey's coming back.
Rice,
they got that number one guy now.
Rice holds it together, but let's be honest here.
Does not drop the ball.
Some of that receiving core has been sus this year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Them.
That's what I'm saying solely is Mahomes is realizing no more mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm giving the ball.
Gotta get crispy.
I'm giving the ball to the guys that catch the ball every time and are dependable. And guess what? Against Miami, Rashee Travis and Pacheco touched the ball over 40 times. And they won wholeheartedly throughout that game. And that's what you do. You give them the ball as many times as possible. See what they can do.
Yeah.
Give your playmakers the ball that deserve it, that haven't been having drops, that haven't, been having mistakes. They deserve to be there. They deserve to make the big plays in the big games, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bills overcome that because, for one, those games, Bills, Chiefs, the past few years, great. Guess what? This guy Mahomes is always one-upping this guy Allen, and guess what? Allen's got this dude James Cook this year, been going off. Mahomes has Pacheco. They have the same fishy now, and let's see who's going to put it together and have the better game.
Let's remember Buffalo and Arrowhead, though. They pulled it out, man.
Yeah, I remember. Regular season, though,
team,
not playoffs.
To me, neither team is the same team.
Regular season.
Neither team is the same team now as they were when that game happened.
Not.
Both of them have made big strides
They're both
forward.
red hot. I'll give them that. They're both red hot. They're both red hot.
I'll tell you now, I hope Buffalo wins. I really do.
Yeah.
James Cook,
I do. I'd like
as
to see
much
that.
as we love Dalvin coming from Florida State, for some reason this season, I have had a special place for James Cook. I have loved watching him play this year. Does he have some fumbles every now and again? Yes. I've said it before. Every running back has some kind of downside somewhere. Every one of them does. Eventually, over time, they all have some kind of downside. Dude, James Cook, I've said for a long time, I've probably said it on the podcast numerous times already, Buffalo, I've said for years, if they could find an explosive back, they will be a different team on offense. And they finally have him. Mm-hmm. James Cook is the guy in Buffalo. And he's the guy that needs to stay in Buffalo because he works well with that team.
Oh, yeah.
He does what they need him to do. Yes, he has Latavius as a good complementary, and Latavius has got a lot of goal line stuff that's really helped the Bills out. But, dude, when you need to break a big run, James Cook is trustworthy. And when you need 3 or 4 yards, on the 50, James Cook is still trustworthy. They kind of need, to me, the short yardage situations, as long as they stay away from going shotgun all the time on short yardage situations. That, to me, holds them back with James Cook because James Cook is a guy, you want him in sixth gear the moment he has the ball. You run an ace formation, you run an I formation, and you turn around and give him the ball and just let him have a head of steam by the time he has that ball in his hands, he's getting you 3 or 4 yards every single time, bare minimum. When you run shotgun and you run a read option or you run a halfback to the outside or something like that out of shotgun, he can't get that same explosiveness under his feet. It takes him a second to shift gears and get up to speed, and by that point, you make him get into an uncomfortable situation. He has to stop. He has to let blockers develop. And that, to me, is not the kind of back he is. He's explosive, and he can guarantee you 3 or 4 yards if you just let him be up to speed. If they can do that, he's going to be awesome in this game, I feel like. I think he's going to do great. Weather's not going to be a factor. Both teams are prepared for it. Weather's not going to be a factor. I hope Buffalo wins, but I know that it should be a really good game. I'm excited to see what happens, especially to see how that's going to really make the playoff picture unfold. But like I said, both teams great wins this last week, wild card weekend. The Bills, man, they pulled it out. They looked good. A couple things they can clean up, but by far easily could go into this game with Kansas City and come out ahead. I just think they have to play like Green Bay did against Dallas. They have to come in there knowing they have to play perfect, and that's what it's going to take.
I think playmaker-wise, Buffalo has the edge, respectively, because, one, Allen, you saw that dude last week. He was going for like 10, 20-yard run. He didn't stop.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense doesn't tackle. He's big enough where he'll plow through you, and then he'll keep running.
Yeah.
And he will do that.
He will hurdle you. He will truck you. He will do whatever, dude.
I'll give it to Mahomes. He has some crazy scrambles sometimes, and he's, not the fastest guy in the world, but he makes plays happen. He always has. Mm-hmm. He's a playmaker. Allen has the edge, in my opinion, as far as speed, ability, rushing ability. Like I said, they have that guy Cook to match Pacheco in the run game, and I'm not gonna lie. Throughout the year, they have 2 crazy good tight ends, Kincaid and Knox, both back healthy. Gabe Davis is a big play, lightning maker, man, and that dude could go off. I've been waiting for Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna call it right now.
Yeah,
that guy Diggs hasn't had a big game in a long time, and I know KC has been great on defense, is shutting their number one guy down. That is how they beat him. This guy has to have a premium game.
Well, most
And
definitely,
I think he
because
does.
as of an hour ago, Gabe Davis missed another practice today. Where you have to start being concerned if he's going to be here.
Oh, he got hurt last game. He got tweaked last game.
I don't even. Did Gabe play last game? Hold on one sec.
Not sure of his injury update. I thought he did, but they didn't need him as much.
Let's see. No, Gabe Davis did not play against Pittsburgh.
He didn't.
No, I didn't think he did. And so he's missed practice all week. He still has an opportunity, but
Maybe without him.
they could be. Which Shakir did great, man. Golly,
Yeah.
that one play was crazy. But anyway, let's keep on going. Let's do some predictions real quick. It's gonna be a crazy weekend. I've got San Fran coming out on top. I've got Detroit coming out on top. I've got Houston coming out on top. I've got Kansas City coming out on top.
Well, I'll say first the San Fran Green Bay, since I was probably one of the only Americans to call Green Bay over Dallas. I'll wholeheartedly say Green Bay comes in and beats San Fran by 3. I don't care how many playmakers they have. Dallas had just as many. They had playmakers all over the field, offense and defense. It didn't matter.
Zach's gonna like
that guy. That guy, Love. He literally stayed behind Rodgers and he learned every aspect of his game as far as play, time of possession, how to manage each drive, throwing, faking the run, RPO,
he's
everything.
got it, man. He's got the it right now.
Perfected it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a rookie, but this is his 3rd year in the league. That means he spent his first 2 years
learning,
not playing a single snap because he knew the guy ahead of him was better for one, but he wanted to learn and be exactly like that guy. And he took the time and he made the necessary steps. Now you're seeing it. This guy is unbelievable. And I will say, Purdy, it's a great guy. Remember, this dude's still young. He's still young. He can make mistakes, and you've seen it. Mm-hmm. You've seen the four interception game against the Ravens. He can have those games.
Yep.
You just got to make him uncomfortable. And that's something Green Bay did to Dak as well. Made him uncomfortable. All right, I'll go real quick. Close game in Baltimore. I say Baltimore comes out only because Lamar's hungry this year, and they'll have Andrews back most likely, playing with likely, and all those healthy receivers. Too many playmakers on that team. Stroud's going to go out fighting. I'll say like 35-31. Shootout game, 100%. Detroit. I think Detroit. What's up? Oh yeah, shootout.
He said,
bang, bang, bang.
He said the shootout. I can't find the button.
Far one.
Is it that shootout? That might have been something totally goofy. I don't know what I
think
just
that was the shootout. Yeah, that was good.
It's like he's got a shootout. I hit the wrong button. It's like wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the shootout one, but 2 more. Detroit, I think, takes care of business against Tampa Bay. I didn't. Tampa Bay's great coaching. They played a good game against us. We were on the downfall. Something was wrong with us mentally. I don't see that happening to Detroit and Dan Campbell.
Real quick, can I throw in there? Did you see the interview
with
Tampa Bay's coach?
For Detroit? For the game?
Where the reporter asked him, was like, we've seen weather be such a big factor so far this season, and especially in the playoffs. It's been a really big factor. I think right now that the temperature is 13 degrees in Detroit. Are you concerned with how that will affect your guys? And is there anything you're doing to change your game plan for that? He's like, well, they play indoors. They have a dome. So I don't really think it's going to affect us. Dude, I could not stop laughing. I was like, what I would have given to be in that room when that question was at, everybody looked around like, what did she just fucking say?
Are you serious?
Dude, Todd's look, though, when she said that, and he just kind of looked like, is this a real question? Like, he's like, yeah, no, I think the only time my guys is going to be in the weather is the 20 seconds that it takes them to get from the bus into the stadium. He's like, so no, I don't think it will affect them. Dude, I died.
But she had no reaction to that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I think my last one is Chiefs-Bills. I left it for last because it's going to be a great game. And I will pick the Bills in this one. Close game. Only because, I did have KC in original predictions going the championship to play Baltimore. I think Allen's just hungry, and their defense is hot, their team's hot.
Their window could be closing. That's not one of those. He's
not one of those guys that's just losing in the playoffs either, like Dak. He's a winner. He wants to win. His team's confident. He's gonna create the game plan. I think
Dallas fans like how he threw that shot in there. Like he's a winner, not like Dak.
I mean, stats prove. I mean,
I agree. I agree with you, though. In all honesty, Allen has just like we we're talking about Love. Allen's is proven. Love is a rook. I mean, he's been in for a couple years, but this is his first real season playing. He has the it right now, but you don't know if that it factor is part of him. If it's going to be part of him moving forward. Josh Allen has the it. Does he throw some touch or some interceptions with the touchdowns? Yes, it happens.
Yeah, it's not perfect, man.
But you got a player like that, man. It's like a wild horse. You got to let him run, man. You got to let him do his thing out there. When he has his good games, he's untouchable. And I feel like being in these high-pressure moments, he has his best games.
Yeah.
Because he has that winning mentality.
I think so.
I agree with you, even though we pretty much – it sounds like we disagreed on almost every game except for Detroit. But it'll be interesting to see what happens this week. It's going to be some great games. I feel like it's going to be some great games all the way through. Only other thing I had real quick is Bill Belichick, only coach to have 2 interviews in Atlanta. As of right now, only coach to have 2 interviews. Eagles OC interviewed in Atlanta today or yesterday. I say, I love my team. I think let him go. I hope that he is hired. I hope he does great things as a head coach, but we need something fresh in Philly. Yeah. So good luck to everybody. The coaching carousel is going to be crazy for a few of these teams. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Mike McCarthy announced that he will be staying in Dallas, so it'll still be the Mike and Dak show next year, it looks like, unless something crazy happens. So,
we'll be regular season champs.
But that's really all we've got tonight. I mean, I've got a ton of other stuff, but we have just run completely out of time. We're way over, but it's all right. We've had some good conversations. We finally got to bring some basketball into this. I've been wanting to, branch out. I feel like, we get some gruff every now and again for some people that I know that watch, and they're like, hey, man, you guys only do football and a little bit of baseball. When you going to put something? I'm like, all right, we got it. It's hot takes, man, and right now football's hot. Football's hot. It's that part of the season. Yeah. It's the hottest part of the season. Dude, let's finish this thing up with this review. I've been munching these. I've been watching you munch these. Dude, these things came out of nowhere. These are like the Houston Texans, man. Came out of nowhere, but could easily be a champ. Mm-hmm. I was expecting them to be crispy. I guess it's the caramel inside them. Caramel.
A little bit,
I'm going to tell you now, I like these.
Yeah.
I really like these.
I mean, that's the whole point, to have something to snack on during this or during a game,
I eat that whole damn bag during a football game.
Yeah.
That'd be gone. Like you said, maybe a little cream cheese frosting or something. Mm-hmm. Dip them in.
Peanut butter.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to throw it out. So, we started the season off doing these ratings, and some of the stuff came out a little higher than it should have. That's my fault. I still stand by my ratings that I put out there, but I feel like we've got to a point where I'm like, you have to start breaking it down into groups of ratings. Like, if it's a 7 or higher, it's worth trying. If it's an 8 or higher, you got to try it. If it's a 9 or higher, you need to have it at your house right now, kind of thing. These right here, and these are the caramel ones. I can't speak on any of the other ones because I've never had them. Daleman's Stroopwafels, these are a solid 8, dude. These are a solid 8. You really need to try these. These are where it's at. I have to throw it out there. I haven't said it in a couple of episodes, but I just want to make it known, just for everybody that does watch, we are in no way affiliated with any of these snack companies. That's the big thing, is these are unbiased snack reviews. we're not being paid. We're not getting free stuff from any of them. Although, if anybody sees this and wants to send an email out to any of these companies and want to send us free stuff, we'll definitely do it. But but for real, we don't get paid. We don't get any endorsements. We have nothing affiliated with any of these companies. These are honest, non-biased reviews. I'm saying these are a solid 8. I could eat these on game day.
Yeah.
Not too sweet. Like, that's what gets me. Some of these candies and sweets and stuff, they're sweet as hell. These are good because they're not. They're not too sweet. They're just right down the middle. I can dig them. What are you thinking?
I'll one-up you and not quite give it a perfect 10, but I'll give it a 9. Just because it's very light, and it's something that I could just, like, snack on. Maybe not eat the whole bag at once, but just, like, periodically, take one here and there. Like I said, take some maybe cream cheese icing and give it a little microwave for, like, 10 seconds. Get a little dippage. And, dude, I think you'll be in there.
The 9 on the Stroopwafels. These are...
man, I didn't think I would like them as much, but
Me neither.
I was kind of like hit one every now and then during the pod. And
when I saw them, I looked and I was like, we've been talking that, we needed to branch out because all of our snacks that we review end up being high ratings. And I feel like in a way it's because we kind of know some of these things are going to be really, really good, so we do them. But it was like we need to have some honest reviews on here of things that we don't know if they're going to be good. When I first looked at these, I was like, this is going to be an honest review. These are going to get like a 4 or 5. They're not going to be that. They don't look like the packaging and everything even. It's like there's nothing special about it. It doesn't look like they'd be amazing. This is why we do this. This is why we do these snack reviews, because these right here are surprisingly good. Surprisingly good. One more time, these are Daleman's Stroopwafels, Stroopwafel minis, the authentic Dutch Stroopwafels, caramel, soft toasted waffles filled with caramel, cinnamon, and real bourbon vanilla. I love them, man. Vanilla. I can dig these things. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of another Sports Bites. We have really enjoyed having everybody here. We hope you've enjoyed it. We say it every time. Like, subscribe, comment, share, everything you can to get us out there to everybody.
Make your own account.
That's
how you can subscribe.
Get the subscriptions in. Let's get these giveaways going, people. We want to give some stuff away, man. We really want to get out there. We really want the people to see Sports Bites for what we are. We have a lot of fun, honest reviews, honest sports takes. We really want to get this going. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe. Hit that like button.
I'll say,
leave us a comment.
Guys, like friends from Ohio for him, or family for me, mom, tell your friends at work, guys that are watching that are my buddies. Tell your guys at work. Tell your family. Just to tune in.
Get us out there.
See what they think. Even if they don't like sports as much, you're supporting us. You be our supporting cast, and it'll grow like wildfire. And we just want it to all of a sudden just start boom and boom and boom. And it's more comfortable we get with this. So just
we're always building, always improving. That's what it is. Well, on that note, I will say, next week we'll have it a lot more locked down. It was kind of a crazy week for us here in Roanoke. But again, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, comment on here. We say it every time. Comment. Leave us some comments on what you want to see reviewed. Give us some snack ideas. Give us some ideas for what we're actually reporting on this thing. Give us some hot take ideas. Give us anything. We love to see it. We want to see the comments. We want to hear the voices of everybody that's watching this, because you guys are what we're doing this for. We're trying to get it out there for you guys, and that's what it's all about. One last time, like and subscribe. Leave some comments. Share it. Let's get them 50 subscribers in here to get this giveaway going. And that's it. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Sports Bites. My brother, Don Schroe. Me, your host, Randall Horn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here and watching. Don, thanks for another good podcast. This has been a lot of fun getting back into it. And yeah, on that note, we are Sports Bites, the self-proclaimed #1 sports podcast, bringing you the best of both worlds, sports and snacks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Have a great night. We love y'all.
All right.
Long as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag. Long as I wake up in the morning, I'ma get a bag. Get a bag, yeah, I'ma get a bag.